There's an island in Europe where the water doesn't just look blue, it looks lit from the inside, where cliffs plunge into a sea so clear it feels unreal, where a shipwreck rests on white sand like something from a fantasy film, except it's real and you can actually go there. Close your eyes for a second. You're on a boat, the sun is high. The air smells like salt and warm stone, and the sea below you is glowing. Not sparkling, not kind of blue, glowing. The color is so intense, your brain does that split-second glitch where it assumes this must be edited. Most people fly halfway across the world to find scenery like this. The kind of place you save on your phone, set as your wallpaper, and quietly assume is on the other side of the planet. You think of the Maldives, Bora Bora, the far edge of the map, the kind of trip that needs months of planning. But what if you didn't? What if Europe had its own tropical jaw-dropping escape with neon water, hidden coves, and views that make you stop talking mid-sentence because your brain is genuinely trying to process what it's seeing? Welcome to Zakynthos, and today on Traveling Heavens, we're exploring why this Greek island might just be Europe's most exotic getaway. And trust me, the photos do not prepare you for what it feels like in person. The real magic here is how everything changes with light, how the cliffs shift color, how the sea moves between turquoise, sapphire, and electric blue depending on the angle. Stick with me, because Zakynthos is not a one-photo island. It's a full cinematic experience, and it has a way of making people leave already planning their return. Zakynthos, or Zante as many call it, sits in the Ionian Sea on Greece's western side. And it's a completely different vibe from the Aegean islands most people picture when they think of Greece. Unlike the dry, rocky landscapes of the Aegean, this island is lush, green, and dramatic. Pine-covered hills roll toward towering limestone cliffs, and beneath them, the water looks like a palette of impossible blues. Even the air feels different here, greener, softer, and then suddenly you're at the edge of a cliff and the Ionian opens beneath you. The island keeps doing that to you. You drive a few minutes, turn a corner, and the coastline opens up like a reveal in a movie trailer. A small viewpoint becomes a full panorama. A quiet road becomes a dramatic drop into open sea. Zakynthos is full of these moments where you think, okay, this has to be the best view, and then 10 minutes later, it somehow gets better. And then there's Navagio Beach. You've seen it before, even if you don't realize it. A rusted shipwreck resting on blinding white sand, wrapped in vertical white cliffs, surrounded by neon blue water. It's one of the most photographed beaches in the world, and for once, the hype is justified. When the sun hits the water at midday, the color becomes almost surreal, glowing from beneath because the white limestone seabed reflects the light back up. Arriving by boat feels cinematic in the best way. The cliffs rise vertically around you, the outside world goes quiet, and the water turns brighter the closer you get. Then suddenly, the famous shipwreck appears, frozen in time since the 1980s. The metal is weathered, the sand is bright, the water is unreal, and the contrast is so sharp it looks like someone drew it. You watch people reach for their phones, stop, then just stare, because the scene is already perfect without a screen between you and it. And even if you've seen Navagio 1,000 times online, being there is different. On a screen, it's a perfect image. In person, it's the echo of waves off stone, the way the sunlight bounces around the bay, the way the color shifts as the boat turns. The cliffs are massive, like a natural amphitheater. The sea feels deep. The shipwreck looks fragile, yet it's still there, stubbornly iconic, sitting in the middle of that white sand, as if the island decided to keep it as a symbol. It's also one of those places that changes depending on how you experience it. From the water, it feels dramatic and enclosed, like you've entered a secret cove. When you step onto the sand, it feels almost silent, despite the energy around you, because the cliffs swallow sound in a weird way. And when a wave rolls in and retreats, the sand shifts under your feet and the whole place feels alive, like the bay is breathing. The secret with Zakynthos is timing. Midday gives you the most unreal watercolor, that glowing neon effect, but early hours give you space, calmer seas, and a quieter atmosphere that feels more personal. If you plan your day around light and crowds, the island stops feeling busy and starts feeling like your own private set. But Zakynthos is more than just one beach. If you only come for Navagio, you're basically watching one scene and skipping the entire film. Along the northern coastline, you'll find the blue caves, natural sea arches and glowing chambers carved into the cliffs. When sunlight reflects through the water, everything turns luminous blue, as if the rock itself is lit. Swimming here feels like floating inside liquid light. You look down, and the sea is so clear it feels like you're suspended above it rather than in it. Go early in the morning, before the tour boats arrive, and the calm and clarity make it feel almost private. The water is smoother, the reflections are cleaner, and the caves feel quieter, like the island hasn't fully woken up yet. Later in the day, it gets busier, more social, more energetic, but the glow is still there. Either way, once you see that blue light wash over the stone, you'll understand why this coastline is legendary. Then there's Porto Limnionas and Porto Roxa, rocky coves with impossibly clear water where locals dive straight from the cliffs. No sand, no resorts, just raw Ionian beauty. You'll see people perched on warm rock, take a breath, and jump straight into that crystal water. It's the kind of place that feels honest, not curated for tourists, just nature doing what it does best. And because it's rock and water, the experience is different from a typical beach day. You float, you snorkel, you watch sunlight flicker across the seabed. You climb back onto the rocks, dry in the sun, and then jump in again. It's simple, addictive, and weirdly freeing. Like your entire schedule becomes water, sunlight, and that one perfect dive. And of course, Marathonisi Island, often called Turtle Island. This small, uninhabited island is part of the National Marine Park and one of the nesting areas for the endangered caretta sea turtles. If you're lucky, you might spot one gliding beneath your boat, calm and effortless. The water here is warm, clear and gentle, giving serious tropical lagoon energy without leaving Europe. And the whole area feels like a reminder that this beauty is also something to respect. This is the side of Zakynthos that isn't just pretty, it's meaningful. It's not only about the color of the sea, it's about the life inside it. When you realize turtles actually nest here, the island stops being a postcard and starts feeling like a living place with its own rules. You slow down, you look closer, you appreciate it differently. What truly gives Zakynthos that Maldives-like feeling is the color of the sea. The Ionian waters are deeper and richer in tone than much of the Mediterranean. Combined with white cliffs and bright sunlight, the contrast is intense. On windless days, the surface becomes glass and the blues look layered, like someone poured different shades into the same bay. You notice it in small moments. A boat wake leaving a bright trail behind it, shallow water glowing turquoise near the rocks, then dropping into a darker sapphire a few meters out. The way the sea looks calm and soft in one direction, then open and powerful in another. It's not one blue, it's every blue. And when golden hour hits, everything shifts again. The cliffs glow honey-colored, the sea turns deep cobalt, and suddenly the island looks too perfect to be real. It's the kind of light that makes you slow down without trying. Like your body knows this is the moment. Even if you've been rushing all day, you'll stop here, you'll watch, you'll breathe, and you'll get that quiet feeling of being somewhere rare. Now let's talk about where to stay, because Zakynthos can absolutely do luxury and it does it with style. If you want that high-end, infinity pool over the sea, Maldives feeling in Zakynthos, Zante Blue in Tragaki is one of the island's most exclusive adults-only resorts. This is for travelers who want calm, privacy, and that premium minimalist aesthetic. Think private pools, clean lines, panoramic Ionian views, and an atmosphere that feels more like a sanctuary than a hotel. It's the kind of stay where mornings start slow. The sea looks like a painting from your terrace, and you genuinely feel removed from noise, crowds, and busy. If your goal is honeymoon energy or a reset where you actually rest, this hits. Another stunning option is Olea All-Suite Hotel near Silivi. Built into a hillside with flowing lagoon-style pools weaving between the suites, it has a modern, earthy aesthetic that blends beautifully with the landscape. It feels curated and cinematic, the kind of place that looks effortless on camera and even better in real life. You move through the property and it feels like the pools guide you, like water is part of the architecture. For something ultra-private, there are cliffside villas in the north of the island with infinity pools overlooking the open Ionian Sea. Some of them feel like they belong in Bali rather than Greece. Quiet mornings, salt air, endless horizon, and nothing competing with the view. It's the kind of stay where you forget what day it is. And honestly, that's the point. But Zakynthos isn't only for luxury travelers. In towns like Alix, Salivi, and even smaller mountain villages, you'll find family-run guest houses and boutique stays that are far more affordable. Staying local gives you a different rhythm. Slower mornings, homemade food, and real Greek hospitality. It's the kind of place where someone remembers your coffee order by day 2, and you start to feel like you belong. Speaking of food, the island's cuisine is rich and comforting. Expect fresh seafood, grilled octopus, local cheeses, olive oil produced right on the island, and traditional Ionian dishes influenced by Venetian history. Dinner here isn't rushed. It stretches into the night with sea views, warm air, and that feeling that time moves differently on an island. You eat slower, you talk longer, you stop looking at the clock. As for getting here, Zakynthos has its own international airport with direct summer flights from many European cities. From Athens, it's about a 1-hour flight, which still feels wild when you realize you're landing in a place that looks like this. You can also reach the island by ferry from the mainland port of Kyllini, which connects easily by car from Athens. Once on the island, renting a car is highly recommended because many of the most beautiful coves and viewpoints require driving. Zakynthos rewards exploration. Some of the best moments happen between the famous stops, on a quiet road, at a random pull-off, when the trees open and the sea is suddenly there again, bright and unreal. So, is Zakynthos really the Maldives of Europe? Not exactly. There are no overwater bungalows, no coral atolls stretching into the horizon. But what Zakynthos offers is something different: dramatic cliffs, neon blue Ionian water, wild landscapes, and a tropical feeling without leaving Europe. It's exotic, it's intense, it's cinematic. And on the right summer day, when the sea is calm and the sky is clear, it might just be the closest thing Europe has to paradise. This is Zakynthos, and it might be more unreal than you expected. If you want more places that feel impossible without leaving Europe, subscribe to Traveling Heavens, because the next destination is going to surprise you too.